Welcome, everyone, to Blood and Iron, Dead Man's Hand. Well, last we left off was an episode that you, the audience, have not seen because we played offline because my internet was being rather troublesome, to say the least. But the coterie had some more intimate moments where Alex confronted Kane about his apparent change in appearance, going from somewhat sickly looking to a little bit more gaunt. Still the very large, very muscular, very athletic build of a man, but a little more like death has set in, where he actually looks somewhat like a dead thing walking. Frustrated and maybe a little flustered herself, Alexandra has gone to spend the night at the chantry. Possibly to immerse herself in study, to get advice from her mentor, or perhaps just to spend some time away from the little things that have been bothering her lately. Kane has taken on a more intimate role with Chatterbox, the now ghoul in his possession. Because that's what he is. A thing now. A servant to Kane's blood. Maybe not even to Kane himself. But for now, looking to appease his new master in all that he does. Vowing to never, ever let Kane out of his sight again. And, well, Shrek and Anna, being the more proactive of our coterie, did some investigating, finding some clues on what may be going on as far as the bodies missing hearts and being cleaned up afterwards. Strange it may be that a person be mauled and ripped open just to steal their heart out of their bodies. Several have turned up this way, according to Raphael. And according to Raphael, he's done some cleaning up after, even though there may have been some cleaning up before he even arrived. That maybe there's a pair working together, hunting, specifically for human hearts. And may or may not be devouring them. But with that being said, there are some other things to address. Anna, for one, sent a note to Roman through Dr. Cohen, indicating that she wanted to meet at midnight the following night. And thus, that is where we are going to start. So first off, I would like my three kindred for tonight to roll rouse checks to see how easy or how difficult it is to rise this evening. You're already very much hungrier, Anna. Thankfully, Kane has been able to rise with ease. And Shriek?
What's there to tell?
Oh, your rouse check, hon.
Let's see here.
And
There we go.
Shriek is rising with ease as well. Same as you left it the previous night. So, Anna, you've arranged with Dr. Cohen to have Roman meet you at Dr. Cohen's office at midnight. Is there anything you would like to do to prepare for this meeting?
There's not a lot I can prepare for. The hunger gnaws at me again. And part of me is a little terrified of meeting Roman like this, and meeting him a little bit more disheveled. But honestly, this is my one chance. This is my one chance, and then, well, any small, biting favor of time that I can find like this is... I'm always expecting it to be my last. To be the last moment I get to spend with him. Talk to him. Touch him. That's the worst part. Maybe it's just outright paranoia. Maybe...
Or maybe it is that very hungry monster inside you.
Maybe I don't want it to happen again. The first time that I snapped. Roman was the first person I lost all that control on. It didn't even... It was a moment of negligence, maybe. That I had just barely been embraced, and I thought, no, I don't need it. I'm different. I'm not the same as the rest of these blood-sucking monsters. I can manage. I spent so long avoiding it, avoiding eating in life. Now that's all I think about again. Death doesn't really release you from these things. It just complicates them.
But here you are, starving yourself night after night after night. Bleeding yourself dry in some cases.
What good is any of it? At what point do I really deserve it?
But it's mine.
Shut up. Shut up. Just keep it together. And part of me thinks back on how I acted in front of the madame. That won't happen again. It will never, ever happen again.
And you find yourself at the entrance to Dr. Cohen's practice. The interior is lit up. The door locked, but you're sure that the good doctors inside. In fact, you're very certain that even Roman's inside. You see his vehicle, his jalopy of a car. Old reliable, that thing. Ugly as it is, it's been the most reliable thing in his life at this moment.
Could say that. Could say that 1,000 times over. Maybe I'm nervous. A little bit of afraid. It's like that feeling when you're a little kid and you know that you were just playing around, you were just doing what kids do, but it doesn't change the fact that in a strict home, your parents are going to scold you all the same. You can't help it. There are just things that you are, things that you do. No matter what you try, you're still wrong. Even this is probably wrong. But I check the door and enter in quietly.
After giving the door a knock and Dr. Cohen coming to the door to let you in, guiding you from the entryway into the sort of main lobby proper, that's where you see him, sitting on a couch. Roman. Hannah?
And I run to him. I run to his side and I immediately just hug him as hard as I can.
And he's doing exactly the same.
I'm sorry. Sorry it's been so long. I'm sorry I had to go away. I'm so happy you're okay. So happy you're safe. And I'm just squeezing him as hard as I can.
You're hurting me, Anna.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. I'm just so happy to see you. And Dr. Cohen just kind of adjusts his glasses and looks at you both and says, I'll leave you to it. I'll be in my office if you need anything.
Thank you, Mr. Cohen.
And he excuses himself to go to his office in the other room, leaving you and Roman alone. Where have you been? I'm so worried sick.
I know. I am. It's been complicated.
Everything's complicated.
I've been trying really hard to figure everything out, and there's a lot of things that I need to talk to you about. The reason why I called you here tonight is because I'm gonna have to leave again very soon, and I don't know for how long.
No, Hannah.
But I want to make sure you know, and she just holds his face. I don't want to let you go. I'm here. I love you. I really do. And I really, really don't want to just leave you in the dark.
Then what's going on? I can help you.
Her face just curls. Almost like she's twisting into herself a bit. I wish you could, but you really, really can't. And it's because I need you to be safe. Safer than I am. So that
Then let's just leave.
I can't.
Why not?
I just can't, Roman.
Isn't that what happened with you in Oregon?
That wasn't... It wasn't what I wanted either.
You don't have to go alone. You're not alone, Anna.
Can you just sit with me for a moment?
Yeah. I feel like I'm in the dark. I want to help you, Anna. I want to know. Let me help you.
Her eyes are evading him, but she asks him quietly, not looking in his direction, not meeting eyes with him by any means. I can tell you. I want to tell you everything right now. But if I do, I really need you to promise me something.
Anything.
Don't help. Don't try to help. Keep living as you are. And I can promise you, I won't actually ever be gone, Roman. I'll be there. You just won't see me. And every time, every moment we get the chance, I will do everything in my power to find you like this again. Okay? Can you agree with me on that?
Meaning that we'll go months without seeing each other?
Yes.
It hurts. Every time you go away. Because I don't know where you are. I'm up all night, worried sick. Because the way that you're talking, you sound like you're in some kind of trouble with, I don't know, what, gangs?
No. And she just like grips her hair and tears
Or drugs?
start
What is it?
forming. It's not. Roman, do you remember what happened? Do you remember what happened 2 years ago? When you were in the hospital? I came home from therapy, and you were in the hospital because I found you on the ground in your apartment. Do you remember that?
I remember that bit.
Do you remember anything else?
It's fuzzy. I remember coming home. I remember unpacking groceries. I remember there was a knock at the door. And it's like there's a gap. Like, I can't remember what happened between the time that the door knocked to the time I ended up in the hospital bed waking up from anesthesia. All I knew in that moment was something happened that I don't remember. The doctor said that there was a lot of bleeding. I had lost a lot of blood. That, thankfully, you found me just in time.
Yeah. I did find you. But I'm also the reason that you went to the hospital.
That's impossible. He just looks at you like you're like a wayfish girl like you.
I wish it wasn't like this, but I'm sorry, Roman. I almost killed you. I didn't mean to. But I'm not the person you think I am at all anymore.
Horse shit. And he just wraps his arms around you. I don't believe that for 1 second. You're covering for somebody.
No, Roman, please. Please remember. Please remember, and please don't hate me. And as bloody tear finally crawls down her cheek, she bares her fangs in anguish. She shows Roman. Her hands cold. Face of a beast. Staring straight at him.
He stares back at you, confused. What?
Roman,
I don't understand.
I'm not human anymore. I haven't been for a few years, and I don't. That night, I lost control of myself, and I almost killed you.
No. I don't know what to believe now. Because that's impossible. Or if it is, that you've been lying to me for this entire time. Both of which I don't like. And I don't...
Sorry.
It's insane.
I know. I'm sorry. I've been trying to hide it because I didn't want you involved. But I can't keep lying to you anymore. I can't keep pretending. Because now I'm in this position, some sort of fucking cabal. And
Have you really gone off the deep end? Is that what this is? Some kind of sick joke?
do you not believe me?
I don't know. You're telling me that you attacked me that night. I don't believe you. You're barely able to lift a 2x4 as wayfish as you are.
But it happened. It happened all the same. There are things that I can do that should not be possible. There are things that I can see. And I wish... I want to tell you as much as I can about it, but I don't. I'm stuck because I'm in this situation where I want to be honest. But the more honest I am, the more danger that puts you in.
It definitely sounds like a gang to me then.
At least with the gang I could get out. With the gang I could run away. But with this I can't. Because the bad thing, the problems, the big bad monster that I'm trying to run away from is just me now. It's what I am.
I don't know what to think.
Please. Please. And she just holds his hand really closely, pulling it into her chest, almost as if she's trying to hold on to his arm desperately. Don't hate me. I'm trying so hard to keep you. I'm trying so hard to protect you. But I can't. I can't do both of these things at the same time.
He kind of hangs his head a little sad. Tears in his eyes, too. I love you, Anna.
I love you too, Roman. She slides her hand across his jawline. Tries to lean in for a kiss.
He hesitates, but he allows it.
She lingers. She doesn't try to bite. She doesn't try to bleed or anything like that. She's being very careful, very delicate about contaminating him. And when she pulls away from the kiss, she just props her head against his forehead.
So what do we do?
We do this. We be secretive. We send notes. Physical ones. Through other people who know people. Who know people. And never through any sort of federal or municipal or traceable way. And every time I get the chance, I'll let you know when it's safe. I will find you. And I want you to live like a normal person, Roman.
What if... What if that means that I can't go on like this either?
Don't say that. Don't say that.
This has been going on for months, Anna. I'm losing... If I keep up like this, it's going to cost me my health.
Please. I'll do anything. I'm really trying. But I can't be there all the time. I can't be there more often because if I am, people start seeing it. Other monsters start seeing it. They find out. They'll come for you. Because they want to come for me. I can't. I'm sorry.
You have your priorities.
What can I do? I can't always see you, but I can do things for you. I can send you things I can...
I don't want any of that, Anna. I want you. And if I can't have you, then I think we're better off just friends.
Oh, man.
Very good friends.
Oh, man. Wait.
I don't like seeing you like this.
I can change. I can fix things around me. I can make it. I'll try to change. Please, don't. I'll try to fix things.
And then what?
She just shakes her head. She doesn't even know how to respond.
When you have no more of these responsibilities, and you think it's safe, then maybe we can pick up where we left off. I don't. I'm going to worry about you, whether I like it or not. But you said you just want me to live. Just live my life like an ordinary person. I don't know what that brings. Do you know the future?
I don't. I don't.
Neither do I. I need you to be okay, Anna. Because I love you. So whatever you have to do to get away.
I'll find a way. I'll find a way, I promise.
Because I'm at my wit's end. I'll give you a month. Straighten things out. Do what you need to. After that, I'm gonna have to move on. But it's not today. And he pulls you into a hug once more. It's not today. Please don't cry.
She just buries her face into his chest. She takes in deep scents.
Oh, but
Trying
he
to-
smells so delicious, too.
Trying to preserve his smell, his warmth, the beating of his heart.
The smell of his cologne. The scent of that tears stringing down his eyes. The scent of human. The sensations of human. You know what he tastes like. Just a little sip.
I want him.
All of him. All. Whole. I don't want him to go anywhere. I don't want him to leave me. I want him to stay. Stay a part of me. Always with me.
I just want him to be mine. But I really...
He is mine. He's not going anywhere. I'm not letting him go.
I want him to be human. He needs to be human. And he needs to be alive. Because I can't be anymore. And I don't want him to have to suffer that. Maybe part of me thinks of Brody. How stagnant he was. How broken. Just waiting for Kane's every beck and call and every command, like he isn't even a person anymore. He's just a tool. Not even that. I couldn't even afford that. I pull myself away from the hug, slowly, gently. A month. I'll see what I can do. I'll do anything.
Your tears are like blood.
Dead things don't need tears.
I don't know what to think about any of this. I need time to process.
I just wanted to give you an answer. I didn't want to leave you in the dark anymore. I'll do anything to fix things. Roman, I'll do everything I can.
Then you know where to find me. I've got to be up early for work. And he gets up from the couch.
And as he walks away, Anna just holds on to his hand, gently, slowly releasing it as he leaves.
What are you doing? He's mine. I want to keep him. He can't leave. He's mine.
I love you, Roman.
I love you too, Anna. And with that, he slowly walks out of the lobby into the main entrance and out into the night, getting into his old reliable car and driving away.
Anna just stays there, limp on the couch. She doesn't even make an effort to stand. She just kind of slides herself onto the floor. Sits there. Seems to be dazed, seems to be disconnected. Just tears running. After however long, probably 30, 40 minutes of her just sitting in utter silence, she finally brings herself slowly to her feet. Goes over to Dr. Cohen's office.
You see these
Knocks.
typing away on the keyboard. The door was cracked.
She knocks on it.
Come on in.
She enters and closes the door behind her.
I heard
Thank you.
a car leave. I was just wondering if... Didn't want to disturb.
You're done.
Hard to go.
Her face just immediately churns into despair. Her head droops down, with her back against the door as she slowly shuts it.
Pretty bad, huh?
I messed everything up. Just... I'm gonna lose him. I'm gonna lose him, Dr. Cohen.
Why can you tell the future?
Why does everyone keep asking me that?
Well, because you sound very confident in the way that you're saying things, and I don't know, maybe you have a gift that I don't.
Coffee?
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to incite that. Is he insinuating that he knows? Like he heard the whole conversation here?
Insight check. What's an insight?
Wow.
You have no idea what he heard or didn't hear, so you can make your assumptions if you want. He's got that very hard to read. I'm doing an after therapy for you face. which is very stoic, very just ask questions, let them talk face.
What did you hear?
I heard a little bit of shouting, mostly from you. You get pretty loud when you're upset. It's not something that comes across very often in the AA meetings or the NA meetings. But when you're upset, I wasn't being nosy, but I did have my door open a crack just in case.
You're just doing your job.
I did some research on yours and Roman's cases. And given the fact that both of you spent some time in a facility, it seemed prudent.
So what's your take?
My take doesn't matter. What I think doesn't matter in this case. It's what you think, Anna. You seem to think that you've doomed everything. That's what you just told me. So why? Why do you think that after a month he's still not going to love you? Or that what you did was so heinous that he wouldn't forgive you?
So you heard. You don't think anything of it.
All I said is I didn't hear anything.
That's what you say.
Look, Anna. What do you...
Just tell me what you think. Just say it. Give me your diagnosis, Dr. Cohen. What do you think you heard? What do you think you saw? What do you think you know about me?
What I see in front of me right now is a woman troubled. Burdened with something. With life, maybe. And she wants to ease her burdens. By any means possible. That's why you come to the NA meetings.
A woman troubled. No, Mr. Cohen. You have it wrong. She slowly begins to walk over to him, sits on top of his desk. Putting her direction towards him, not even bothering to wipe away her own tears. You have it entirely wrong, Mr. Cohen. I'm not a woman troubled. I am the trouble. She wipes her face of the vitae, her thumb covered in it, presents it to Dr. Cohen. Lick it. Compel.
Okay.
I've decided to be the trouble.
Yes, you have. Well, he's an ordinary mortal, so there's no resistance on his part. As much as he does not want to, his body acts of your will, not of his free will. You command him to lick your thumb. His stare goes blank, and he does.
And when he does, he gets a taste of vitae, but I'm not done. When he, for even just a second, when he turns his head, Anna just grabs his jaw, brings his head up to her eyesight again, keeping her thumb on his lips. Bite it. Make it bleed.
Are you using another compel?
Yes.
And he does so.
Crunch.
But you don't need him to make it bleed. You know that even just with a pinprick of the finger, that you can force vitae out of a wound if you wanted to. He bites. And maybe for a moment, you feel like he might not be biting hard enough, but then you feel it. A wound. Just enough to break your skin, just a bit. And then that's enough. That's enough to weld the vitae in your finger and spray it into his mouth if you wanted to.
And I hold it there and I watch as he falls into the enamorment of it. Watching him savor every little bit as it courses into his mouth. He swallows, laps up what little bit left before I take my hand away. I hold on to my hand protectively. You should be careful, Dr. Cohen. Because I don't think either of us really have a good read on me. But I think, more than anything, you can teach me more about me than I could. So I need you to be honest. And I'll ask again. What do you think? What is your diagnosis?
You seem to think you're trouble. And I don't know what to think.
I think I need your help.
And I will help you to the best of my ability.
I think I really want to thank you for helping me tonight. And she just caresses the back of her hand. I'll find something. I'll make it special for you, Dr. Cohen. Thank you.
All right.
I have to go for tonight. So, is it okay if I still come to the meeting next week?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. And she smiles sweetly at him. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And with that, she'll go ahead and make her leave.
All right. It's probably close to about 1 in the morning by now. What do you do?
I think I have a job to do. 1 month. 1 month. Fix everything. 1 month. She walking back towards the direction of Alex's shop before she pauses and thinks for a moment. I need to feed. I need to feed.
All right. Are you off to feed now, or are you going to wait?
I'll go ahead and feed now. We'll just do a quick roll and then we're good to move on to another scene.
Yep. Quick little roll. Give me that hunting roll, my dear.
Whee! Manipulation, persuasion. Does the specialty in persuasion vessels count? It was a specialty given with the feeding type.
Yeah. Then yeah. If it came with the feeding
Yeah.
type, then absolutely go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to double check.
Yep.
Plonk.
Plonk.
Oh. Okay, we're fine. Does a 4 do it, Captain?
A difficulty 4 would normally do it, yes. Are you specifically caring about your feeding restriction, about them being consenting or not, or are you just kind of willy-nilly?
I always have to consider the restriction. I'm not gonna take the stain, my guy.
Okay. You're
already got one.
They're already gonna get a stain for a ghoul. Yep.
Yeah. Let's do it. We're gonna go with how about this?
Pardon me.
Anna is going to find a position from which she can prey upon all the siren feeding type, I guess. Again.
Okay. Okay.
Find someone who's into weird kinky shit like blood play.
Because your restriction usually... Well, I know that I haven't ruled it like that in the past. I've just kind of willy-nilly it. That I really should be making it a little more difficult for you. Given that you prey on specific people. Feeding restriction and all that. But I'll go ahead and... We'll just accept it at the 4. That's fine. In the future, we might do that way, though. So, we can move on. So, after grabbing a bite to eat, Anna, is there anything else you were doing?
At the moment, was going to head back to Alex's shop to see if she can find Kane. If not there, then probably at his gym. From that feeding, I took 2 dots.
Okay, 2 it is.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw. So, Kane, I guess we're moving on to you next. Because there might be some things that you get up to before Anna meets up with you. So, where are you, my friend?
I would be coming to my haven. And probably walking downstairs to meet, probably and awaiting Brody after doing all of his stuff during his shift. And getting ready for the night.
He gives a little bit of a yawn. He's got a coffee in his hand. He's been kind of waiting around for you to get up. You did specifically tell him not to really disturb you during the day's sleep. Whatever whatever he might know about that. Not that he does know anything about it. He just is now sitting as guard dog sometimes at your haven.
I'm going to look at him, kind of frown a little bit.
Hey.
It's not good if you're too tired. You don't have to be here all the time. Make sure you sleep at some point.
Man, I'm good.
I want you to take care of yourself.
I'm good. Promise.
Okay. Well, for the beginning of the night, I need you to, in the safe, there's a phone. He's going to hand him there's only one number in it. I want you to text this message exactly how it's written.
Okay.
And this is me setting up a meeting with my contact for within a few nights, whenever they are able to meet.
Okay. And just so I have an idea of what this meeting's going to be about.
I'm going to see if they can do maybe like a fake bolo, or and not a yeah, it would be a more of a bolo than like them searching for it. Like, they're not supposed to stop them, but I want to get as much information about certain vans that might be missing tags, and maybe if they're frequent areas, try to nail down movements, numbers, and if I can't get any information, find out that if they're protected or not.
Okay. So you want to meet up with this person and that be the conversation that you have. Okay.
Yeah, that's...
They're able to meet up tonight, and they do express that, yes, it will take some time to compile, because obviously coming out to a location where they don't have their information readily at hand, and responding over text is not exactly ideal. So it'll take some time to compile. They can probably get you something by the end of the night. But yeah, as far as movements, as far as how many have been seen, that sort of thing, they can get some vague idea by the end of the night, and maybe more precise numbers in a few days.
I'll tell them
Obviously,
not to work as quickly as they can, but I'd rather have the full information than partials because, you know.
they're also concerned with the fact that they might get caught.
Yeah, I don't want them to have to rush and get sloppy. I'd rather them do things right, like we always do. There's no reason, there's not a time limit on this.
Okay. Then what I'm gonna have you do
Okay.
is roll me a wits plus streetwise plus contact. So I'll give you that information now, but you'll have it more or less kind of in pieces by the end of the night.
Okay.
So you're more than welcome to act upon it if you want to.
Would this be able to be blood surged?
Yes.
Okay, well, I will definitely do that then, because this is very important to me.
Oh, 5 is solid.
We
5 is
will
very
re-roll
solid.
3 though.
Okay. Ooh, 8's even
8 is better.
8 is
Yeah,
better.
we will take 8.
We will take 8. So you talk to your contact briefly in person about the kinds of things that you've been seeing around the Arlington area, about mysterious black vans with no license plate, with strange antennas. Not really gotten a solid look at them. You came across a guy basically in like a black jumpsuit and like climbing gear and stuff, with some specialty equipment, and all of it just seems really odd to you. The first thing that the contact tells you is that, well, that gear sounds federal. That's their speculation. That's not something that they have a fact on, but it sounds federal in that it's a lot better equipment than any sort of civilian might know. So they might be cops, they might be feds, they might be CIA. Who knows what branch of government they might be
At
from?
the very least, their gear is top of the line.
Their gear is sufficient, not top of the line, but sufficient. In like, if you had like cop tier, you had military tier, you have fed tier, you have these sorts of things. It's kind of in between cop tier and fed tier. So
Okay.
it's not military grade by any means. But that's their speculation when you describe the gear to them.
Okay.
Because they've seen it all. Seen smatterings of it all. So the next thing that they tell you is that there have been reports at the dispatchers about black vans with no license plates. Obviously, because having no license plates is not exactly legal in Texas. And so some narcs will call the police to have those things reported on. There have been tickets and citations issued for such vehicles, all of which have been paid promptly. But the fact that they're still happening is a concern is a concern that the public has from time to time. The most recent sighting was in the Arlington area, obviously, and and have been spotted that way as well. What more can I actually give you?
Can I ask for
You can ask a specific question, and I will answer it.
all of the locations of where I would like the locations of where the tissues were ticketed, or the tickets were issued. I'm sorry, I said that completely backwards.
Uh,
And
the exact number and the exact places.
because I want to pin those onto a board and look for patterns.
Right. That you will have at the end of the night because they do have to compile that information, but they have a rough number of about uh, 10 tickets issued so far as they know off the top of their head. In the Arlington area, a couple in Dallas, a couple in the surrounding suburbs, but mostly in Arlington.
Okay. I'll be waiting for that.
And at the end of the night you'll get your exact locations, which I'm not going to be too particular about. You'll find that
Well,
pattern matches up.
I basically want a file full of shit that I can hand to Shriek.
Okay,
Is all.
you will have that, and the pattern will be the same as their speculation, in that it's mostly in the Arlington area, which is really only a couple miles across.
Okay.
So
I would then probably head to the unless someone contacts Chatterbox, either head to the shop just poke my head in, and then I have other things that I was going to do tonight.
I was going to allow for another question.
Okay.
Unless you don't have any more. Because this is
No,
all
let me
information
think.
that you've gathered already.
Let me think. I will not waste a chance for a free question. Or,
Yeah, because based on what you've learned so far about them, this is all stuff you already knew.
yeah, I was looking to see if I could figure out maybe if they're parked, I might be able to find a headquarters of some type or. Okay, I got it. Since there were these they were ticketed, is it the same group of people? Or are there different people? Like names and stuff, because tickets aren't just you don't just get a ticket to a black panel van, you get ticketed as a person. Could I get the list of names?
There would be a couple of names.
I'm looking for threads for Shriek to go pulling and do what he does best.
Um, yeah, let's see. Individual people that got ticketed.
Because if it's the same cell of a group, either we're going to get the same drivers over and over again, or they're rotating and we're just going to have a decent amount of their membership. And we might be able to find ties socially or through organizations. Maybe they went to the same school, they're from the same area, they're part of the same militia, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay if we have to come back to this if you need time to think.
No, you got 8 successes. One of which is a woman's name. Kyra Harden.
Kyra Harton. Okay. Does this name ring a bell?
Were you at the shop when she was talking to the other members of your party?
I
No,
don't know.
no, I don't think you were because they were. She was talking to Alex inside. I think she's only talked to Alex. So no, you haven't met this person.
Okay.
This name means basically nothing to you right now.
Okay. I'll I'll kind of I'll be waiting. That'll probably be part of the file that I hand Shriek to, because that guy wouldn't have all of the names on hand probably.
No, yeah, that's
Yeah.
all stuff that you're gonna get at the end of the night, like the exact intersections and locations, the name, Kyra Harden, and then one other name, Harrison Winters.
Okay.
But those you'll get at the end of the night.
Gotcha.
But as far as general information, you have that which you have to act upon. And you said you were going over to the Fight Club next?
I would stop in at the shop to see if anybody needed me, but I mostly was heading toward the Fight Club if no one did.
Okay.
So
Was anyone wanting to interact with Kane at the shop while he waits there for a little bit?
Yes.
Yes!
Yes.
Yes!
At that point, Anna would stop by the shop after feeding, after everything that has happened for the evening. She goes through and spots Kane waiting there.
and Kane would be waiting out front instead of going inside.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
With Chatterbox in tow.
when she sees Kane and Chatterbox, I guess she's just like Kane will probably very obviously be seeing her watching him from a distance for a second, kind of anxiously. Probably for a good 30 minutes before she finally stops hemming and hawing over it and approaches him.
If he notices her after about 5 minutes of her kind of pacing and looking up, and thinking and talking to herself and pacing and looking up, Kane's just going to be like, "Alright, wait here for a second, Brody." And he's going to walk over to Anna.
Hi, Kane.
What's wrong?
I wanted to talk with you tonight. I don't feel like we've really had a chance to talk since the fight at your club that one time.
Yeah.
Do you have a moment?
Yes, I do. I have things I need to do tonight, but I'll always make time if I'm needed.
Thank you. Is it okay if we just walk and talk?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kane will just yell, "Take a rest in the van, Brody. I need to take a walk for a second." And I'll walk alongside Anna, hoping that Brody will go and take a nap because he looks tired.
Well, he'll go to the vehicle. Maybe lean it back a little bit. But he's keeping his eyes on you as much as he can. So
Yeah. Like I said, I hoped, but what can I do for you, Anna?
Well, I guess I just wanted to check in with you about something. I'm sure you've probably had an earful over it from everyone else. But guess. I mean, why did you tell him?
Tell who? Are you talking about Chatterbox?
And she nods.
Because what I did with him wasn't exactly the same that most people do. There's a reason for it. And I don't see him the way that other people do. He is not the same in that matter.
What makes him different? What makes... Go ahead.
The way me and him grew up. When you're part of a crew, you stick together. And if someone gets elevated, you try to bring the people with you that matter. Especially those that are dependable. I can't exactly do that very easily for him. But we've always had each other's backs. And as distasteful as a lot of people look at it, I want to give him the same power that I have. Not to mention that I depend on him in some ways.
The same power. Okay.
It's not just I needed a lackey. There are things that he can do that I can't. There are gaps that we both fill. Now, that may be tainted because of how this happened, but on a long enough timeline, I can fix that, I think. I'm still new and naive enough to believe that.
When did it start? You say, with how it happens.
I didn't get the best education with how things work in our society. So I figured out or remembered the mechanics, but didn't remember that it came with a cost from their will being bent to yours. So I screwed up and gave him my blood before I gave him the choice. Maybe part of me knew that it would ensure that he came with me. I'll never know, because honestly, there's more than one voice in my head now. And sometimes we're fighting over who's driving.
Do you regret it? And she kind of stops when she asks that. You notice that she just kind of like shrinks into herself a bit. Do you ever have second guesses about any of it? Did you ever think that you could stop?
That's always in the back of your head, but woulda, coulda, shoulda. Those dice have already been cast. We gotta live with the outcome. I could try to fix things, but it would only put him in more danger. The best thing I can do is get him up to speed with how things work.
And if things go bad?
Well, remember when I said being part of a crew? If things go good for each other, you take care of each other. If things go bad, you kind of share in that too, unless you're a little bitch and run away. I don't think I'm the kind that runs.
That's not what I'm looking at.
What do you mean then?
Well, I mean, I'm terrified to be around people. Terrified. Because, I mean, I think about it every single night that every person that we speak to and interact with and function with on a regular basis, every single one of them are at a certain risk. And you say that when things go bad, you look out for each other, but there's going to be a moment when you look away and Brody's going to be alone. And someone else is going to take advantage of that.
That might happen.
Are you okay with Brody being gone? Are you okay with him dying?
I would fight against anything that tried, and definitely would have tried to avenge him if anybody did. But no. I would not be okay if he just disappeared. But I have... You're right, we haven't talked very much, but there is something I've noticed about you, if you would allow me to speak freely.
And she raises her hand to him. You have the floor.
I've noticed that you are very skittish and scared. Especially around people, like you said. I think you're very much afraid that you're going to hurt someone. And that's something that I know what it feels like. Because I could hurt people in my human life. It's only gotten worse moving up. I wanted to give you another perspective of something, though, since we have become what we became.
You see her eyes are locked dead on you, Kane. She's listening very intently.
Now, the best way that you can not have happen what you don't want, what you fear, you to avoid what you fear most, is by controlling the situation. And Kane kind of like he'll pause and kind of like stroke his beard for a second, trying to think of a good way to put it. No, the only way that I can think of I'm not very good at with words, but the best way I can think of to put this is an analogy. If you've seen all the wildfires and stuff in California, right? At least on the news.
I have.
Why do you think they get as bad as they do?
I think it's got a lot to do with environment, just generally how wet springs, suffocatingly hot summers, and people who don't follow regulations.
That's how they start, but what makes them worse is even in happens in Canada as well. The more untouched things are, the more overgrown it is. The easier things are to spread. Now, if you maintained it, cut proper, like thin things out, cut proper amounts of things down, keep the underbrush to a manageable thing, things would not go as bad as they do. That's what you have to do. You have to maintain your forest. You can't let yourself get too hungry. You can't push yourself too hard. You can't put yourself in positions. If it's too damn dry, don't play with the fireworks. If things get out of hand, someone somewhere fucked up. But at this point, that's us. Even if you don't like what we are or what we have to do, the longer you push things off, the worse things will get.
You see her eyes flit back down to the sidewalk. If you want.
I was going to enter and do an insight check to see if I have hurt her feelings or anything, or to see just what the general, see if I get any general vibes from this.
Go for it.
Okay. Wits insight for Kane and Anna. Are you being particularly?
She's trying to maintain composure, all things considered.
Then I think a composure and subterfuge will work. Ooh.
I'll leave it at that.
All right, Kane. She's
Take
like an
the
open.
W.
She's like an open book. Anna, what does he see?
Guilt.
You know, I think you already know this though, because I think it's already happened to you.
Let's see. A lot of her body posture, usually quite prim and proper and different when walking side by side with you, is kind of like she hunches back into herself, folds her arms. Yeah, I am. As much as I don't want to be around people, do I find that we still need them? And that's the problem. Is I'm not sure how to balance that. I'm not sure how to balance being close, taking care of things, being nearby. I'm not sure how to balance that garden without recognizing the threat that comes with it. Because everything we do, every person we speak to, everything we interact with, if it's not just because of what we are, then it's what we're doing. It's the title, it's the circumstance.
The only advice I can give is just balance.
How?
Keep things prioritized. Get done what needs to be done before what you want.
How? How do I not lose people?
That's the thing. Now that we are what we are, on a long enough timeline, we're going to lose everything. I don't know how it is for you because I don't have any family, at least. Not relatives. But I do have people that I have around that I care about. But someday they're going to go away.
I just don't want to hurt people. I don't want to be the reason why terrible things happen. There's so much going on where it's just like constant evidence, you know? Like,
I don't know if you've ever heard it inside your head. Something that makes you want to do things. Thoughts pop up that you would never even dream of that would come. Sometimes it's not even the same voice that you have in your own.
I have.
That's what you gotta fight. Keep yourself fed. Keep yourself in control. Don't let things get too far out. Because that is just on a chain waiting for you to give it any slack. The moment you do, everything that you don't want to happen will.
Do you ever think that everything's gonna slip up someday? For you?
I guarantee you it'll happen. Even with everything that I said, nobody's perfect. No circumstance ever works out perfectly. But I'm going to fight like hell to try to not let it happen.
Me too.
I've noticed changes in me since I've become this. I don't want to notice anymore. I'm tired of looking around at everybody and having them be scared of me. I'm tired of looking around at everybody and have them be suspicious of me.
What do you want then?
That I'm still trying to figure out. But I don't know. I just want probably the same thing I wanted in my human life. For my life to mean something. Because just surviving sucks.
You own a gym. You have title. You can tell anyone to do anything and they can't fight you over it.
On the surface, that's true. The gym I built up, that took work. I earned that. I'm proud of that. While I appreciate the titles we were given, I don't feel like I've earned those yet, so I'm not proud. And I'm not even sure that us having them is a good thing. But I think that's what I'm going to fight for. My own position in this whole society. I don't care where it lands, but it will be mine. And I will have earned it.
Then, does that mean respect? Or does it mean conquest?
Probably both.
I don't mean to be offensive, Kane, but
I'd rather you speak your mind.
if that's what you felt like in your human life, it still makes you a very scary person.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the only logical outcome when You have a life where you have to take what you need.
And I can see how you might be able to do it.
Hmm. Kane will
Conqueror,
get a serious look on his face, and he'll just watch you intently.
I read somewhere Conqueror is judged by just as much of what he spares as what he spears. So it almost sounds like a nursery rhyme. It's simple, it's silly, but I think when you say that you try and look out for people, even if it's probably idealistic, I think there's value in that. I think there might be a little bit of honor. So, I don't know. I keep everyone at arm's length in this whole coterie. I guess I just don't necessarily want to do that anymore with things constantly escalating. And I don't want to feel alone through it.
I can understand that feeling. I've tried to show that I'm an ally. It hasn't really worked very much. Some, I think, detest and outright are very disrespectful. Others, I don't know. There's a lot of no, people just don't trust each other in this society, and
Law of the dogs.
yeah,
Makes sense. It doesn't mean you can't work together. As far as I'm concerned, all four of us are kind of stuck together.
yeah, for better or worse, we're chained to this anchor. Let's just hope that, we can get to port and carry it off the ship and not go down with it.
I'm scared of seeing you go down. I don't like that you talk about Brody like he's an object, not a person. I don't like. No.
He is not an object to me. But I have to talk like that because that's what everybody else says.
Don't ever treat him like one.
I'm going to give you a little piece of information that is very dangerous to me because, well, I'm trying to develop trust. The reason I do that is because if I do show how much I care about him or what he means to me, that would put him in more danger.
That's true.
So,
Don't ever treat him like just a tool.
I don't plan on it.
Make sure he sleeps. Make sure he eats. And
I
keep
think
him as
that's
far
going to be
away.
hard.
You
He's
do it.
stubborn.
No,
Oh,
you tell him to if you have to, but you don't. Don't neglect him. Don't let himself neglect him. That's how you treat him humanely, and you keep him as far away from our stuff as possible.
Don't worry. I have my own plans, and I will make sure that he is fine. I'm looking for the long game here. And if I get my way at all, Brody's going to be around with me for a very long time.
That being said,
I'm not done.
oh,
Ooh.
Don't you interrupt me.
pardon me.
Pardon-moi.
I'll believe you. And I'll trust you in that. But I mean, there's not a lot I can do, but just if I'm going to believe that you are trying to be honorable, to be what you say you want to be. And I think for most of us, if you want to earn our respect, then that's probably the way to do it. Just let him have a life. Let him live. And Kane,
Yes.
if you can do that, then I want to work with you. And I want to try again. You terrify me. But I do think I need your help. So, I wanted to ask a favor. And I wanted to know what I can do in return.
What is it that you need?
I wanted to rebuild a theater. I can't do it in my name. But I know someone who'd be okay with it. If it wasn't done in their name, but we just need the money.
Do you have ownership already, or do we need to acquire the property as well?
Acquire the property as well. I'm not very good with this, but I wanted to use it as a way to give back. I feel like all we do is take. Maybe it's also my own idealism. But I wanted to use it as a way to help the community. Donate. A place where people can do shows, activities, nonprofit, and funnel resources back into the community. So you've seen it too, right?
It's one of the reasons I run my gyms the way I do. Have you never been to one of my gyms, have you?
I've only been to the one where you fought Fernando.
Oh, that's something different. My gyms, they're a place where people can better themselves. Sometime if you get a chance to talk to Brody, ask him how he got to where he is now. Because anybody can come in, and especially the ones that are too angry and they fight too much. We try to find those people, especially the young ones. Get them focused in, get that rage focused on a bag. They protest because they can't afford it. Well, that just means they just have to sweep up before they leave. Maybe take all the towels and do a load of laundry. You know, once a week, come in for a good mopping of the place. There's ways to work around that. That's how he started out.
Not everyone is in that availability.
Oh, but that's the only way that I know how to help people. If we can figure out a way to make this place into something like that for another group of people that I don't know how they work, I'd be open to doing that. Let's I have an idea. Let's go back to the car.
Okay.
And I'll go and I'll kind of knock on the window. Hopefully Brody has dozed off, but probably not.
Nope. Nope. He watched you as soon as you came out from behind the alley. He kind of perked up like a puppy dog. Kind of sitting up straight in the in the car chair, just watching, making sure that you're going to be okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk over and just wait for him to get out. Alright, Brody, I got a job for you tonight. It's
Okay.
going to be something that's going to we'll be able to do some good. It's going to be along the same lines of what we did for the gym. But I wonder if you can work with the people that you got in contact with and Anna here. We're going to be remodeling a theater.
Okay. Sure. Should be easy enough, right?
Yeah, we can probably use the same contractors to do the work. They might know people if there's stuff that they don't do, like specialty. I don't know. There's probably a hell of a lot of molding and stuff that they have to do to make that place look pretty. I don't know. That's all finished work. You talk to the contractors and set everything up. And maybe.
Is there a budget limit?
I'd like to not use all of our assets, but.
Because opening up the second gym kind of tied up a lot of assets.
Oh.
It's still brand new. We haven't even cut the red tape yet. Grand opening and shit.
If you can just... We just need title for the property. And I know how to find people who can help from there. It's rebuilding it, setting it back up.
Okay. I might know a guy who knows a guy about property management.
Great. And this is silly, but my credit score is bad, so I'll get a hold of the person that I was working with on this. I'll let them know. I'll get you two connected. Is that okay?
Yeah, I'll have my people call your people.
Anna brightens up, and she just smiles very sweetly at Brody. Thank you. I appreciate your help.
It's no problem. It's not like I'm really doing anything in this regard.
It's a big job.
What you're doing matters. Don't forget that. I have some other business that I have to attend to that I can't exactly bring you along for. So after you get everything done, I want you to actually rest.
I rest when you rest, man.
Sleep when you can, because there might be times where you can't do that.
You're my top priority, remember?
Yeah. Do you want your top priority to be worrying about you?
Well,
I'll
guess...
just kind of slap him on the back and just like listen to him for once in a while.
Fine.
I'll see you back at the gym tonight.
Alright. And he starts to walk off.
Oh, I would give him the van. I would walk off because I can move a lot faster than he can if I had to, but...
Okay, he can take the car.
Besides, that thing's a high-tech piece of shit that doesn't like me.
Well, I think it's time to figure out what Shriek's up to. What are you up to, Shriek?
Well, at this given point, given a fresh day's rest, and doing relatively well. Not quite. I can eat, but it doesn't really affect me that much.
It's not bothersome.
At this point, I am, oddly enough, heading to church.
Ooh.
Specifically to end up dealing with Sister Charity.
Ah, yes. The lovely sister. She is there. It's early enough in the evening that she would be there. There wouldn't be any really congregation members to speak of in the place, but it would just be her, just kind of tidying up. Maybe there was something that went on earlier in the afternoon, but she's kind of making herself busy by doing some cleaning. Maybe just to pass the time, maybe just waiting for someone to stop by. It's really hard to kind of pin down what exactly she's waiting for, but she's here nonetheless.
Good evening, sister. How you doing?
I am well. Shriek, wasn't it?
That's what they call me. I'm currently just doing the rounds thing, after all. I'm led to believe that the previous holder of the office wasn't exactly what somebody would call proactive. Thought I would try and take a more hands-on approach, see how that ended up turning on. How you been? You're still above ground, so that tells me this little ankle biter hasn't stopped by recently.
Oh, I suppose I have you to thank for that. So, I suppose it's only proper that I give you a proper thank you for that. So, thank you, Primogen Shriek, for coming to my aid.
Love the ring on that.
I figured it would.
But no, the reason I'm here is just because you're a devoted member of the community.
Of
I'm
course.
sure. And I'm trying to end up finding a lead at this point. Can't just very well sit on the top of rooftops and keep an eye on every black panel van that happens to end up stopping by. Might be enough to make somebody go crazy.
You'd be amazed what you can do just by standing on rooftops and watching.
Had my fill. And that's not really where I stand. I don't like just sitting on the sidelines. I don't like doing nothing, sister. I like to keep myself busy. Hence
I'm sure.
our little conversation tonight.
I'm sure. I'm quite the opposite, actually. I like
Homebody.
the routine.
Really? Why is that?
Routine means stability. Stability means protection. Protection means prolonged existence. Only those who go jumping into the jaws of every situation that they find themselves in, those are the ones who find an untimely end.
I'm sure. But I have to end up keeping my priorities, unfortunately. And it's just so hilarious to end up watching all this discussion. Honestly, I'm just trying to keep myself occupied. Eternity is a long time to be while being bored. So,
You must be very young.
sorry to end up letting you know that. Good instincts.
It just means you haven't settled yet.
What's there to settle?
Plenty.
I can't settle. Sister, Charity. I have to end up keeping my feet moving. Restless leg syndrome. All three.
Your sire must suffer from the same thing.
My sire is a boring topic of conversation. No, I wanted to end up knowing if you ended up hearing anything or if your congregation's currently whispering around. I'm curious on how it is that you got around this far, given what you are. And how does it work out, you being in that? I mean, I understand preserving the masquerade, and I'm not gonna lie to you, sister, that is a phenomenal, and I do mean that, phenomenal disguise. I mean, who would go looking into a church for a blood-sucking monster?
It depends on how faithful you are and how superstitious one might be. I am... Well, faith has always been something that I've held dear. It's a moral compass of sorts. A way to keep myself from falling to the beast. I find it to be the most effective way for me to do so, and that is why I maintain the way I do.
Always gotta love that little bit of self-preservation instinct. So I'm kind of curious, what have you heard?
Well, as far as hearsay,
I love hearsay.
of course, you're a Nosferatu. Most Nosferatu do.
Aw. I'd like to think I'm probably one of the more pleasant ones. Don't have fingernails growing out of my eyelids or some shit.
I will say you're one of the better looking, but It is not the appearance of one that I take into consideration. It is their soul.
And here I got all gussied up and moisturized for you.
If it makes you happy. If it doesn't, why do it?
Necessity.
Hmm.
First traditions and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But
As far
you
as the
said you
hearsay.
heard something?
As far as the hearsay, I have heard some terrifying rumors about missing hearts, people going missing. Word gets around. An organ snatcher.
An organ snatcher. So somebody's up and around just stealing hearts. Thought that was my job.
Hmm. Well, if you actually were charming, I suppose.
Oh, you wound me, sister.
I kid.
So,
The congregation is afraid that they will be next.
probably.
Anyone on the streets could be next. As far as that goes, a kindred needing an organ, though, that's rare. It's not a condition that one deals with very well, and if they do, they keep it very hidden. Or they have ways of avoiding all of the soul erosion that comes with killing people. Because that's what you do when you steal a heart, right? Kill them.
Don't know. If you end up... Maybe if you pray enough. Even that might end up keeping you away from that more bestial temptation.
Possibly.
But what are you doing about it right now?
Keeping my ears open. So far, no one that I personally know has been affected. But that could change.
And if it does?
And if it does, then I will set upon my own sort of witch hunt, as I'm sure you're on.
So no preventative measures, just reaction.
Oh, I have preventative measures.
Such as?
Such as the likes that you probably would need to pay for.
I'd like to roll wits insight on that.
Okay.
Because I'm kind of curious exactly what she could be suggesting specifically in that. Or if she's lying to me. Which is a distinct possibility. She's kindred after all.
There's a distinct possibility. So roll the wits insight.
3.
Okay. You suspect she's not lying. That there may be some methods to her madness, be that she's a nun in a church, that could offer her some protection. She could obviously have some of the obvious things, like protection at the church somehow. She could have some of her congregation members be ghouls or lookouts or even potentially friends, allies potentially.
That's funny. Okay.
But exactly what, you're not sure. Could be any number of things.
Wow. You're not the only one I've heard this from. But, that being said,
What do
I
you
gotta
specifically want to know, Shriek?
me.
Yes. You said that you're always wanting to be in the know. What do you suspect that I know that you want?
You're the one with the congregation. You're the one that has a whole group of people show up on a very reliable basis to suddenly come together, pray to Jesus, and then end up talking around their own little soaring circle. You got this little community that you're tapped into, which also ends up meaning that you're more informed than a lot of kindred on the scene. I thought we would swap notes, but
We could. But much like you, my information does come at a price.
true. And I was trying to end up being kind about it.
I think that you've been a perfect gentleman so far.
After all, don't want to end up abusing the rank and file at this point. You are Camarilla. This does affect us, and it is leaving bodies on your doorstep. Our little slice of domain already has enough trouble as it is.
Yes, it
I'm
does.
just trying to make sure that it doesn't end up escalating any further. But you say your information comes at a price. That's usually my bargain. So what's the price, dear Charity?
I don't exactly have a sterling reputation.
Certainly not.
Most would take that I'm Zemisi at face value and simply judge me on the merits of my clan and not my own.
It's not hard to see why, given reputation.
So if you would like, my congregation could be persuaded to make the rounds more often. They are members of the community. They already tongues to must each other, but could be encouraged to speak with their neighbors, their co-workers, their just about anyone else in the nearby city, if they don't already.
I'm just worried about local trouble. Especially with the Second Inquisition right on the board. I would have thought that I would be able to get all hands on deck, but clearly not. But then again, should I expect the Zamisi to have a spirit of community, even with a congregation? No, I don't think so.
I think you're just trying to get under my skin because you're jealous.
Jealous of what?
You said it yourself. I'm one of the kindred in the know.
Yeah, of course you are. I thought I would stop by and pay a visit.
It is
And
much appreciated. And
see if the little scourge managed to end up getting her fangs in you yet. But
again, I did say I was grateful. I tell you what,
so,
I don't want to be antagonistic with you. So I will offer that for free.
tell me something I don't know.
What you don't know. That is always the answer, isn't it? Always the question. What do you know that I don't?
It's simple, and it dispenses with a lot of questions. It means when you're on something good, it's got to be really good.
They're recruiting.
They?
Those black vans you were talking about. All the evidence suggests that they're recruiting members. Looking for people who might be a little down on their luck or may have lost something. Something they can't get back.
The Heart Eater isn't random.
No.
It has a very specific profile. More specifically, the very good looking. Tends to end up being a little bit of a picky eater. Maybe just likes current company.
Then I suspect your organ eater is a Toreador.
That's a potential thought. Don't jump to conclusions, but I do know that.
And I suppose that you've spoken to every other member of this domain and realized that we don't have Toreador here.
Hence why I'm not jumping to conclusions. But if you knew that, then you already know what members of the congregation you should be keeping eyes on.
I do indeed. So who's poaching?
Good question. One I intend to have the answer to first, if I can.
Suppose it's a race then.
So let me tell you something you don't know. It's not one. It's two. Minimum.
Right. Clean. More or less clean crime scenes. Makes sense.
So, where are they recruiting?
Well, based on the number of vans that have been spotted here in Arlington. And this being the most densely populated domain, with kindred and thin blood alike, they won't have to go far to stumble upon someone who's lost someone. Or something to us.
Makes sense. But I mean where? Gotta be some way to pick them out.
That I haven't discovered yet. So far as I know, there is no base of operations.
Might be keeping mobile.
Quite possibly. The last time they were here, they did have a base of operations, and it burned down with the purge.
We can be grateful for the small wins.
Exactly. So, perhaps they've learned their lesson, or maybe it's a different group.
Not counting anything out just yet. You are keeping me on my toes, Sister Charity. I guess the habit really is more of a ruse than anything else. Well,
The faith isn't.
of course.
God is real. God is what cursed us.
And yet you worship. Curious about that. Discussion of faith, maybe for another time.
One
One
must
when
show
we're-
reverence for their creator.
Guess that depends on who you ask then. But as far as my creator, reverence isn't the first thing that comes to mind, honey.
Now, are you speaking on your sire, on God, or on Cain? That is the better question.
Maybe that would be the topic of another time. Right now, I'm business related tonight. I'd like to end up knowing that I didn't waste my time through the entire nights trying to end up doing this domain of favor when everybody's keeping their heads down and, well, and the same old story. The young are the ones expected to poke their heads out, after all. And for some reason, my coterie really wants me to end up trying to put on a good face. You know, not abuse the privilege. Because it doesn't take much but a command from the primogen. And I'm trying to be gentle with this approach. Good work, Sister Charity. I hope you get to end up coming across more stuff that I don't know. And I hopefully get the opportunity to race you to it. Those answers that matter.
Something you might want to look into. Not all of them were purged.
The Anarchs, the Second Inquisition.
Maybe both. Be on the lookout for a Winters. It's always a Winters.
That's funny. Okay. I appreciate the insight. Sister Charity. And
Shriek.
I open up wallet. Not sure whose it is at this point. Honestly, I have a half dozen of them at this point. Pull out a couple of bills and just drop it in front of her. For the collection plate.
Your patronage is appreciated.
Just because I'm not a believer doesn't mean that I'm not willing to help our own little community out when we can. and you are a member of the Arlington domain, I expect that'll be honored. God-fearing women such as yourself should be reliable for their word. Say about lying in the Bible anyway. People swear on it. I'm never 100% sure where God stands with that.
Unlike.
You know, just given the fact that we live in a perpetual lie that we're still breathing, still a part of the community, still upstanding citizens and all that kind of jazz, when reality is we eat people. I'd be curious to end up knowing what your thoughts are on it.
I confess every night. By all accounts, a lie is a lie. And a sin. But we must do what we must.
I'm sure
Even if
God
it is
understands.
sinful.
Well, I'm going to wish you the best of luck on the quest to end up recovering your immortal soul. Meanwhile, I gotta end up making sure that the rest of us don't become the soon departed. So, you have a good one.
As you.
Bye.
And you as well. And so, she allows you to leave. Goes back to cleaning up, as she has been.
Recruiting. Curious thing that. Winters. Why does that name sound familiar? Well, can't worry about that right now. But they're recruiting in Arlington.
Maybe that's why so many have been spotted.
And so now I know exactly where I gotta go.
Where are you going?
Well, first and foremost, I gotta end up taking a look at a few angles. The first one is the yellow pages. I know nobody uses them anymore, but it kind of helps, especially with those advertisements on groups, especially those who are coming to grief counseling, those who are from assault charges, those who are mournful, or maybe needing a psychiatrist.
And there are a number in the yellow pages.
And specifically, I'm looking for those in Arlington. I'll be scoping out. There's a few places that make sense. Gotta think about it. All the places where somebody would go if you survived a vampire attack. Maybe you won't say it was a vampire attack, but you are going to end up going out, reaching out. You can't investigate every single aspect unto itself, but you can cast a wider net by making them come to you. If it's a recruitment drive, that's a way to do it.
There's a couple. There's a couple that kind of stand out. There's really only a couple that are based in Arlington, really, and that's Dr. Josephine Peace, Dr. Gabriel Cohen, and Dr. Ian Keller, who runs the state hospital in Arlington.
What was the last one again?
Ian Keller.
Well,
In fact, that
Best
name should
go.
stick out a little bit to you. Make me an intelligence politics.
That would be the person who was involved in the blood clinic, if I recall.
Nope, that is the wrong one.
Oh. Intelligence politics. Oof, only one success.
Do you want to succeed at a cost or spend some willpower?
What's the cost?
Someone that Kane knows will be involved in something. Whether he likes it or not.
I'll fail the roll.
Fail the roll, that is. It sounds familiar, and you know that that's the name of it's the name of the person who runs the state hospital, but there are many doctors in there who also treat patients. So it doesn't stick out to you much, except that is also the same name of a kindred you might have run across. Now, whether that's the same person or not, you can't be sure. And what that kindred might be famous for, you're not too sure on either. But there's a match there.
Well, I gotta go and do some investigating and some groundwork. Watch on rooftops for black vans along the way and try and be discreet.
Okay, so where are you going?
Well, let's start off at the top of the list that you said. And let's go to Dr. Peace.
Dr. Peace. Dr. Josephine Peace. A psychiatrist who deals quite a bit in a variety of things, kind of specializing in like health disorders that might mental health disorders that also affect possibly the other parts of health, such as eating disorders, such as self-harm disorders, things like that. That she uses an approach of both medication and behavioral therapies to try and correct those kinds of behaviors in people, to help them on a path of healing in both body and mind. And she's fairly well respected. She's not just a PhD, but she's also got a medical degree, so she is a psychiatrist as well. So she's she does a lot of help with a lot of different things, and she mostly takes on one-on-one therapies. She doesn't really do much in the way of groups, but she does partner with Dr. Cohen from your research, because he does group therapies. So there's a little bit of back and forth between the two of them, which kind of makes sense because they're in the same area. So that's what you're able to find out. Although any practice that you would come across is currently closed, as it is late in the evening.
Fantastic. Gives me a chance to break into the office, see what we can find on files.
All right, go ahead and make me a Dex larceny.
This one I'm going to rouse the for.
Okay. You are getting hungrier, my friend.
Yeah.
It's getting to that point where it's starting to itch in the back of your throat. You're very, very thirsty.
Getting there.
Okay. Four's good. Four's solid.
Now I'm
You
back to now I'm to 3 hunger.
and so you pull out your little special kit that you use on a number of different locks, as you're very familiar with both residential and commercial spaces, and the kinds of locks uh, that are present in most of these places. And so it's not hard to jimmy the lock open. You do you do see the reception desk in front of you, and you see that there are offices behind that. The lights are currently off, and seems that no one would be the wiser about you breaking into here.
Good. I end up trying to end up looking into their notes. Currently looking for any kind of, well, potential chance of running into potentially SI connections or anything that might set off alarm bells that this might have been a feeding victim. See if they're organized as such. Maybe even they got it organized based off of the potential candidates. Let's look for the evidence first and see what it points to.
Okay. Then, overall, I would like a wits and investigation.
That's a 3.
Three's not bad. It's not bad at all. A lot of the patient records are going to be digital, but you do find things on the counter, such as like a sign-in sheet, such as which would have a list of people who have come in for the day. You would find little post-it notes on like reminders and scratches in on a calendar for it looks like the reception, like here at the receptionist desk they use a physical calendar for their actual calendar dates. As far as appointments and things like that, well, that is going to be on the computer. You you kind of look at the computer and try to see if you can find a password or something like that. But it seems that this person might have conveniently memorized their password and they don't have it written down somewhere. So it's going to be hard to crack into that. But
I won't give it a shot, but
you could. So that would be let's go
intelligence technology.
Yeah, let's go with an intelligence tech.
Only 2.
Yeah, the password might actually be a fairly strong one. You try to guess some of the most obvious words that you see around kind of around the desk. None of them seem to work, and it eventually locks you out and says too many attempts. And well, there goes that.
Well, that sucks. I make it a point to grab whatever personal information I can from every other source. Take a few shots of things that might have caught my eyes. I'm not going to spend too much time. I got other locations to be, but thus far this seems relatively clean. But in case I might have missed something, it comes back here, I'd like to end up having a few pieces on the phone. On my phone that I end up using just to take some snapshots.
Okay.
Reminds me back in my breathing days.
Yep. You take the photos that you want. You take a business card. Nobody's gonna miss one business card. And so you kind of snoop through the receptionist desk. You snoop through the office. You find a couple of there's an office, and then there is is a sort of just a couple of chairs. Looks like it's the actual room where therapy's done, uh, and things like that. And so, um, there's nothing of particular interest in any of those because there's no papers lying around. There's magazines lying around about like the latest issue of Time, or maybe it's 3 months old. But you don't find anything more of any real interest. It's anything that anything that you do have interest in, you take a photo of, like the guest log, like the calendar, the little bits and things, and
I
you
also make it a point to end up taking a photograph of whatever books they have lying around. Med student books, psychology books, whatever it is. Gives me
yeah.
a reading list.
Yep. There's a small library of books related to psychology and psychiatry and some general medical books, as well as it looks like a couple of personal items that might be on the shelf as well, like maybe a book from a doctor that Dr. Peace seems to hold in high regard. A couple
I
of
take
those.
note of that.
Yeah. So you have that at your disposal. And that's
And I leave without leaving much evidence that I was ever here.
Yep. Because you are you are a dead thing, but you also have creepy crawlies, so one or two might have dropped. But
No,
well,
that's a pity.
can't be helped.
And before I end up approaching the next doctor's little location, I think it's a good time to end up going to feed.
Time to feed. Okay. Well, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we can come back to that. But we'll only be going for a little bit longer. But we will be right back, everybody. Alright, welcome back, everyone, to Blood and Iron, Dead Man's Hand. Last we left off, Shrink had pilfered some photographs of maybe some interesting notes from Dr. Peace's office, but has since decided he needs to take care of some of the hunger that's been creeping up on him today. So, Shriek, what are you doing to feed?
Well, no sense end up complicating the issue. I know my routine. find a place that looks like it might be have somebody sleeping. If somebody works a day shift. Try and end up getting inside. Grab a bite. Get a few bits of info. See if we can find someone worth revisiting. So, and stopping that now.
All right. Go ahead and make me a feeding roll. Ooh,
That is a 4.
4 will do it.
Yay.
Easy enough. This particular neighborhood has very little in the way of protections. Everyone in this neighborhood feels safe. Everyone in this neighborhood feels as if nothing can come by to harm them. So why get fancy locks and surveillance systems when just a simple lock on the door is going to suffice. So, you unlock the door, you slip in, you find your meal, you take your fill. How much are you taking?
Take a small amount just to top up. I'll end up taking 2 points of hunger and maybe take a peruse around after my feed. If only to end up taking a look, grab a couple dollars out of the loose change drawer, that kind of thing.
You swipe a little cash, you swipe a little bit of this, a little bit of that. As far as anything that might be of any kind of worth, you peruse through the family's bills. They're nothing special. They're just ordinary office workers, it looks like, the pair. It's a husband and wife. And you slink out. Nothing of particular interest about them. Ordinary people. In an ordinary house. In an ordinary neighborhood.
Ordinary. How droll. How boring. But what do I expect? All the exciting people don't end up living in a nice little house, all cuddled up with their lover in bed. The interesting people usually at least have a mistress on the side. Ah, well. Still, can't help the guy for trying. So, with that in mind, it is time to go and see. I believe it was Corner Keller. I'm not sure which. That would be next on the list.
Dr. Cohen does have connections to Dr. Peace that you that you barged in on. Well, not barged in on. You slinked in and slinked out, much as you did your sleeping family here.
That's how I operate. So I'm going and doing much the same.
Okay.
I would presume that is the same role, which is going to require a rouse check. Hey, I didn't get hungry for once.
What role are you doing?
Larceny and dexterity.
So
doing the same route, unless prompted otherwise.
There was something that I was going to say before you walked up.
My apologies.
As you're arriving at the location, you do see that the light is actually on, which is unusual because the door is locked. And what you saw as you were walking up is that Anna had also left this place. Anna.
Now that is curious. Huh. I end up keeping an eye out. What is Anna doing here? Curious. Is Anna with anybody? should say?
Seems she left on her own. Seems she walks most everywhere she goes to. She doesn't seem to have a car.
Note. Now that is interesting. I think better of approaching her. After all, this is. I don't know what the hell she's up to at this point, but. If there's nothing suspicious, then. I guess no harm, no foul.
She just seems to leave the building. The door gets locked behind her. She walks off in a direction to maybe go to do something else elsewhere, and the person who locked the door behind her goes back into an office.
I'll break in, and nevertheless, trying to keep it quiet.
Okay. Yep, you do have your rouse check, so that it does apply to your next roll. So you can make a wits and larceny, or a dexterity and larceny.
4 successes.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. You unlock the lock, and it doesn't seem like there's any kind of fancy alarm system or any kind of surveillance system, so you're free to peruse at your leisure. But I will ask for a dexterity stealth as well.
Since this qualifies as a break-in, do I get my specialty in stealth?
Yes, you do. Ooh.
That is
Not quite a crit, but it's 7. Quiet as a mouse. Even the little critters that are kind of crawling in and under your skin and on top of seem to be rather quiet. Almost as if they know your intention. They know that if they were to be discovered, well, that would mean, well, danger. Potentially. Either you'd eat them and get them to shut up, or they would be otherwise exterminated. You slink into the space. You see that there's again, a reception desk, a lobby that has a couple of couches. You see that there's a couple of office doors that are closed. You saw the individual who locked the door go into one of these offices and shut the door behind them. The front lights being on, kind of as maybe a deterrent for break-ins, breakers in such as yourself. Not that stopped you any.
Very little does, Derek. But I'm going to end up going towards the other person, slinking by, listening. In fact, I'm going to turn on heightened senses at this point, just in case.
Okay. You hear the typing away on a keyboard. You hear the sound of maybe a desk fan going. You hear the sounds of a person breathing. That sort of very alive sort of sound. And maybe, just maybe, if you listen close enough, you can hear their heartbeat from here.
Liking that.
You're only a couple of feet away. There's only a door between the two of you.
And I do like smart food. Good old brain food is always on the menu around me. But, alas, if I would have known it was this easy, I wouldn't have stopped to eat. Realized that I would have been getting a dinner and a show. Still, I'm curious as to what they're typing in. Now, if I understand what you're describing, they're alone in this room. I can't hear anybody else walking around in this building right now.
No, you don't hear anyone else.
So they're alone.
Mm-hmm. And it is a solid
So-
door. There's no window.
Oh, okay. Curious. Let's see here. Solid door, no window.
You do hear a bit of an exasperated sigh at one point. The hell has gotten into me? Goes back to typing. Sounds like he sips from a drink.
I'm going to take a look at the front desk. Grab a card. It's always useful.
Hmm.
Now, you said there's a reception desk, right?
Yep, pretty typical. It's got a computer, it's got a calendar, it's got a sign-in sheet, it's got a little bit of notes. You know, typical reception desk. A phone.
I'm going to turn my phone on. Put it to speaker mode. Turn the volume all the way down. And go around the corner. And dial the front desk with a burner. I'm hidden around the corner, away from the line, waiting for him to walk on in.
The phone rings and rings and rings. And it goes to a voicemail. You have reached out the offices of Dr. Cohen.
I am... Well, the phone's on voice, but turned all the way down, so I shouldn't be hearing anything, but I hang it up, as it's clear that the doctor's not going to end up going out to check what the hell who would be calling at this time at night. Such is a pity. So
Maybe he has a line in the office himself. I mean, he didn't pick up.
It's more that I'm trying to see if I could have tricked him into actually leaving the office, giving me time to peek on in while he's out of the room.
Well, if you wanted to wait.
I will certainly do so. Standing away from the light of the office and using Cloak of Shadows for the most part as I listen.
Okay. You hear some more typing, you hear some clicking of a mouse, and then eventually, about 15-20 minutes later, he does come out of the actual office itself, and which may or may not be your opportunity to do something, but it does look like he is going to quickly close that door behind him and lock it as he pulls a set of keys out, and then goes. If he's going undisturbed, he is going to, because he's not going to notice you with Cloak of Shadows.
I'm not going to disturb him. I don't want him to know I'm here right now.
Okay, so he goes to the front door. He exits out the door and locks the door behind him, and seems to go towards his vehicle.
Peek around the corner, just to take note of the license plate and the car make. Might be useful later.
Yeah.
And proceed to go to town on that lock on his door. I don't expect it to be too complicated, given the fact that this is an office door.
Yep. Go ahead and make another larceny roll.
Okay. 3.
Okay. This one's not nearly as hard as the front door was, so there's that. But it is a lock, and you don't want to break it for the sake of, you don't want them finding out that they got broke into. So you unlock the door, and you close it behind you so that you have a little bit of privacy, and you have an office with a computer, with a mouse and keyboard, with a phone, with a couple of filing cabinets, a couple of papers kind of strewn on the desk.
So now I'm looking for two things.
Mm.
One, so does it look like he tidied up, or you just kind of leave his work laying about?
It's a little tidy. He's not exactly like what I would call like particularly neat, but he's also not the type to leave sensitive information lying about, because that could mean his job.
Fair. So the first thing I'm going to do is flip through those filing cabinets, patient files, lists, skimming through, seeing if I can find something, specifically anything that may suggest ties to the Inquisition or any of the other investigations, or what their connection with our dear little Anna is. I can guess.
You can guess.
But
What's an investigation, please? And these filing cabinets are not hard to break into.
no, anybody with a can of Pepsi can end up breaking into these. So, wits investigation. And I am going to browse again.
Okay.
Also,
Success on the browse. Ooh.
I hate to do this, but I'm going to. Willpower reroll. I have 3 successes.
Okay, that's a total of 5.
Total of 5. Still pretty good.
Okay, and so your question is,
So
yeah.
I'm looking for 3 points of information, anything that might tie into either something involving, not that I suspect him, but of chance, anything that might be involved in obviously the Second Inquisition would be the primary. Secondary would be anything involving the Heart Eater that we're currently looking at. But I'm also keeping one a little bit on the side.
Okay.
And specifically involving Anna, because I just saw her leave this building. I just saw her talk to this doctor. I'm kind of curious.
Nosy shriek. So as far as this connections to the Second Inquisition, it makes sense that perhaps he is maybe not a witting link, but maybe one of those things that by accident is also incorporating recruits or anything like that. So the first thing that you note is that his practice is very much like Dr. Peace. It's very one-on-one, but it also he also does weekly Narcotics Anonymous meetings, where he and several of not really patients, but more individuals who suffer with addiction to narcotics, all kind of sit in a circle and kind of talk about their struggles and kind of go through the whole rigmarole of like a 12-step or whatever kind of process to get and to stay clean. And so he's very much the sort of leader of the group more times than not, as his practice kind of centers around addiction. He does the same. He is tied with Dr. Peace in that way. The connection he might have with the Heart Eaters, that really isn't present in the evidence that you see here. he's more of a he's more of a behavioral therapy sort of a doctor. He doesn't really prescribe medications at all. And the reason that Anna would be seen here is because the evidence that you see regarding the Narcotics Anonymous group, she attends.
Now, isn't that just fascinating? Now, Coffee, I don't mean to be that guy, but if I've since earlier on in the broadcast, I believe Freak, because Freak's aware of this particular touchstone, would Shriek also find a file on Annabelle's touchstone?
On her boyfriend?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that would be a key point of information that would probably stand out to Shriek. And it is 5 successes, but I don't want to meta it.
Probably also because there was recent information that he was researching too. Doesn't seem he has a password on this computer. Not that there's anything much more sensitive than that on it, but
I take note of patient files and anything that might be of note, including taking a quick picture of, well, our dear Anna's profile as well. Psychiatric profile would be useful, in the very least, but I'll skim through that on my own time. We're, after all, time sensitive.
Yep.
And if I...
There's a few other names on that patient's list, and none of them really stand out to you in particular.
Nothing. It sounds like he's more related to drugs than anything else, not the tragedies that the Second Inquisition are primarily looking for in order to end up recruiting. Still, it's a possible avenue.
And this might be more of a personal connection, but he does occasionally have conversations with Dr. Olson as well.
Dr. Olson?
You remember, from the blood bank?
Yeah. Curious. So...
Or I should say, the donation center. Because they take blood donations and plasma donations. And he is the primary facilitating doctor there. But it might be more of a personal connection between Dr. Cohen and Dr. Olson, but it doesn't seem to be professional in any way. Since Dr. Cohen doesn't prescribe meds, he doesn't need blood works done.
Okay. Curious.
Because you just happen to find his number in the contacts list on his email.
Makes sense. Not gonna jump to any conclusions, but it does end up letting me know that they're contacted. Might need to look into the dear doctor a little bit later. Pay their nurse a visit. After all, I got their contact information too. I close everything up and decide to end up locking the door behind me. Leave everything as it was. Start heading out. Just one more doctor to end up seeing at this point. One more to hunt down. One more possibility. So, I believe now, Dr. Keller, it's time to go and say hi.
Dr. Keller. So you would find that he is at the State Hospital, which is a rather large facility. Lots of employees, lots of patients, lots of everything. It's a hospital you can simply walk into and get cared for. Um, but he's supposedly supposed to be here, so you could request a visit if he's taking patients right now.
Oh, no, 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 no. I'm gonna keep it quiet. And to do so, and because everybody's in and out, shouldn't be hard to do, I am going to use Unseen Passage, because my rouse checks have been kind to me. And they're still kind to me. I was expecting eventually I had to pay the piper.
Mm.
But I will use Cloak of Shadows and start to stay out in the outskirts of the halls, try and stay out of too well-lit areas if possible. But I am trying to end up making my way through. Take a look at the notes, try and look at where his office is, wander around a bit, listen where I can. Trying to figure out, this is a public hospital. Makes sense if somebody was suffering from anemia, you'd probably end up arriving here. Who is that recruiter? Second Inquisition trying to end up finding fresh meat for the grinder. Best to find out where they're getting them now. So I'm looking for his office. Looking for his files. Looking for whatever I can grab that doesn't require me actually interacting with a person at this exact moment. I don't like to go in when I don't know what I'm jumping into.
Of course you don't. You don't like getting caught. So, it seems that he's in and out of his office pretty frequently. Visiting this, visiting that. You do get a pretty decent look at him. He's an older gentleman. He typically wears a button-up shirt and tie underneath his doctor's coat. He's got these round glasses that are very reflective, kind of catch the light oddly in some cases. But otherwise seems to be minding the business of, working as a doctor in this facility. And you see patients come in and out from time to time. It seems that he's not really in emergency care. He's more of doing some of the more routine sort of
more of a GP role.
Yeah, more of a GP role, but he just works at the hospital. And
I'm gonna be patient. Poke my nose on occasion, but I'm definitely investigating him. Could he be an avenue for what we're running into?
Eventually, you do see that there are a pair of women who actually go in to go and see him. One is blonde, the other is has black hair. They both seem to go in. They look very similar to each other. Maybe they're twins, just have different hair color. And so you see that they go in. The door's locked behind them. The Dr. Keller seems to go through some of the routine questions that one would ask a patient, and you kind of overhear that the tone that each of them use starts to get very quiet, that you can't really hear them anymore.
Would I be able to pop heightened senses at this point?
Yes, you would, but I am going to ask you to, while there's not really loud noises going on right now, there is the possibility that that some of these machines might actually get blaringly loud with heightened senses. So go ahead and make uh, the defense against getting overwhelmed for me.
Let me double check that roll.
I don't recall what it is.
You think I would have that on me? For some odd reason, I don't.
I don't either.
Give me 1 second. It doesn't take me long to find this one. Should be a wits resolve.
Yep, wits and resolve then.
Not my strong suit, but
Ooh.
3. Oh, 5.
Oh, that's actually 5. Look at that. You crit. Okay. So anytime that because these machines sound noisy, you know that there's going to be the occasion where you're going to have to buckle down and like plug your ears for a second, and then or turn your senses off and turn them back on again, whatever it is that you think you need to do in order to avoid the piercing noises of some of these like heart monitors, some of these like blood pressure monitors, and whatever machines that are
And of
beeping.
course, that one janitor who's always buffing the goddamn floor.
Yep, and that buffer is going at the most inopportune moments. But you're able to keep calm, keep yourself together, and listen in to the very, very whispered conversation beyond this door. And it is one of those doors that are solid. There's no windows or anything, but you overhear the conversations. Dr. Keller asks, "So, any complications?" And one of the women says, "Well, it happened again." "And what did you do?" Dr. Keller says. "Well, cleaned it up, as you had instructed, just like you instructed." "Good. Good. Your condition is unfortunate. But there's no treatment regimen. Sadly, you will be suffering from this condition for the rest of your existence. There's nothing you can do, Doctor?" "Really? There's nothing you can do?" the other woman says. "There just isn't enough information about it. It is rare. Very rare. But survivable and manageable if you can compose yourselves enough." But this is going to catch eyes if you're not careful. "Thank you, Doctor." You hear the first woman say once more. And it sounds like they're getting up from maybe chairs, maybe the patient table, maybe something else. It sounds like they're getting up to leave.
I'm going to end up making sure I'm following these two. Maybe I'm jumping to conclusions. This sounds like a puzzle piece that might just fit. The question, I guess, then is, what does Keller know? But at least I know where to find him. Not hard at all.
Not
But
at
these
all.
two. These two are new. clean it up. Condition? That is a curiosity. Let's take a look, shall we?
Okay, so you're not going to pursue Dr. Keller, you're instead following these two lovely ladies. They are walking together. They walking very closely together, actually. It's almost like they're walking in lockstep with each other.
Twins, maybe.
Twins,
Dyed
maybe.
hair, maybe.
It's possible.
Curious who they are. Didn't hear any names. So I'm just going to end up following them. Stay very, very close. Don't want to lose them.
They don't say anything until after they get out of the building. And you hear the blonde girl, Julie, just say, "Well, what do we do?" And the girl with the black hair just turns to the blonde and says, "Well, you have got to get it under control, Julie. This is bad. It's gonna end badly if we don't fix it." "Why do you think we came here?" Julie said. "Dr. Keller is the leading a sort of doctor for what we are." You hear Jordan shush her. "Not too loud. Somebody will overhear." Make me a obfuscate roll
Sure thing.
for your unseen passage.
Did that come through?
Yep.
Okay, that's 3.
You swear their eyes glazed over you for a second, but they don't lock on you. Not like they see you. Just kind of head on a swivel, seeing if they could see anybody. "Come on." You hear the girl with the black hair say, Let's go home. We'll figure something out. I wouldn't be able to do anything without you, Jordan. I know. That's what sisters are for. You don't have to thank me. We're just gonna figure this out.
Since I'm using heightened senses, here's a question.
Sure.
Are either of them breathing?
No.
My fangs pop at the thought of it. Time to follow. And I make it a point to follow them along. If they get in a car, I don't mind lashing myself to the bottom of it. If they get on a bus, I don't mind getting on with them. But I'm curious where home is.
Okay. You follow them to a car. Jordan gets in the driver's seat. Julie takes the passenger. You can get on get on more like on the vehicle as you see fit to be able to hang on. Quickly make me a stamina and athletics. Okay. It
Had to
stings.
rouse for that, but
It stings. So you're gonna take a superficial damage because you're skidding along some of the pavement sometimes. But
that was my favorite shirt.
yep, it's a little torn on the back. So is your back and some of the muscles under your skin. But there's no there's no place to hide from your back for the creepy crawlies anymore.
Yeah, until they start slithering in the ribs, and I don't want to be thinking about that right now, darling.
Nope, that would be uncomfortable and unsightly. But they eventually stop at a house, it looks like. And both of them get out of the car. They both go into the house. What do you do?
I do what I do naturally. I'm gonna break in and take a look. I think I know how to wrangle these two. So I'm gonna presume that this is much like a feeding role of breaking in at this point. It's more stealth than anything.
Yep.
That I'm trying not to get attention.
And try not to garner attention at all.
4 successes.
Okay. I don't have any character sheets fleshed out, but we'll just...
Well, if you want, we can end up holding off on this interaction until
That's fine.
afterwards.
No worries. That's fine. Okay. Noted.
I follow him in. And presuming that they have a bathroom, I'm
Most houses
going
do.
to, yeah. Well, specifically, I'm going to end up taking a bar of soap, or I'm presuming that they probably have items. I'm getting the impression they haven't been kindred very long.
Quite possible. But yeah,
grabbed
there's
the
all the
soap bar.
toiletries. Yep.
And right on the mirror, help at, and I write down the address of the shop.
Oh. Okay.
Place the soap in, and until prompted otherwise, I'm just going to listen in. I'm going to end up, well, yeah, I want to know what I'm dealing with. I'm not going to talk to him right now, especially without backup. One kindred I might be able to do something against, but they don't know the proper authority of the situation.
Alright. Well, for the most part, their conversation is mostly mundane otherwise. Occasionally bringing up going out for a bite to eat, but then, deciding against it for now.
I'm definitely keeping an ear out. I'm also looking for any tools or anything that might showcase their particular proclivities, shall we say.